The Last of Us Season 2 is collapsing hard, and the fans of it are triggered because people don't like it and are losing interest in it. Now, the ratings have nosedived, the backlash is louder than ever, and audiences are walking away in droves. The Last of Us Season 2 promised a powerful follow up to a beloved story from Part 1, and instead of deliver one of the most divisive disasters in recent memory. Now, you don't need to be a gamer to see how badly The Last of Us Season 2 missed the mark, and with Season 3 on the horizon, it's clear that The Last of Us Season 2 was just the beginning of an even bigger mess. Now, they're trying to stretch this thing into 4 seasons now. Four, as if dragging The Last of Us Part 2 across 3 seasons wasn't already a mind boggling waste of time and money. But it's not my money. Burn it all, torch the budget, stretch it until it snaps. I'm just here for every bit of this slow motion collapse without even watching it because The Last of Us Season 2 is already giving us a masterclass in failure, and it's going to get worse, a lot worse, like limbo level, how low can it go kind of worse. Okay. Now, The Last of Us Season 2 is so dead that even the access media can't even save it. You see, Rotten Tomatoes posted their usual certified fresh nonsense at 94% on the tomato meter, and people are absolutely clowning it in the comments. But where exactly is the audience score? Seems to me they're hiding it once again because The Last of Us Season 2 isn't connecting with regular viewers. It's propped up by media stooges, basically, that are simply desperate to gaslight the public into pretending that this isn't a complete mess. Now, the cope is real. You have Kotaku, Game Rant, all these clickbait merchants running damage control, pretending that the Last of Us Season 2 finale wasn't a disaster, okay? They're calling it heartwarming reactions, emotional responses, but they won't show the backlash. You see, they won't show what gamers said, and they won't show what the real fans are saying because the Last of Us Season 2 is just a mirror image of the game's failure, just now on TV in high definition with every flaw magnified. The division, the resentment, the backlash, identical to the reception of the game. All right. Now, Bella Ramsey already spilled the beans on Season 3 where she won't be in it much. The main character from Season 1 and Season 2 is basically being written out. She was quoted said, I think we're going to be out there, but not a whole bunch. So what does that mean? Well, it means the Abby show is coming, which The Last of Us Season 2 is set up, and now Season 3 is going full Abby mode because that's what people want, or at least that's what Neil Druckmann thinks. Now, one entire season dedicated to the most divisive character in the franchise, apparently that's genius to them, but here's the likely structure. They'll replay Joel's death again from Abby's perspective, drag it out, glorify her side, and then the rest of the season will focus on Abby and her team running back to their base, going through their struggle sessions. It'll definitely mirror the game, and The Last of Us Season 2 will seamlessly become the Abby Chronicles, basically. And audiences are going to bail faster than ever. You see, the remaining normies who stuck around will get blindsided and they're going to hate it, all right? Now, Game Rant even tried their best to go ahead and polish this turd with an article titled, The Last of Us Season 2 finale has troubling statistics. And guess what? They're right, except instead of acknowledging the real reasons why it tanked, well, they blame the fans. You see, blame the weather, blame Memorial Day, blame anything but the actual problem. And they're triggered by this because The Last of Us Season 2 abandoned its soul when it turned Joel into a plot device and shifted the focus to a divisive narrative that no one asked for. All right. And that's not surprising at all, but it's the same excuse parade every time. You don't like The Last of Us Season 2? You must be a bigot, must be a sexist, must be a horrible person, even homophobic, but it couldn't possibly be because, the showrunners butchered what made the first season work and stuff. Emotional grounding, consistent characters, and story arcs basically that people actually cared about. And also, the fact of the matter is, they still decided to go ahead and do the video game adaptation without even remembering how the game is reacted. But nah, it has to be the audience's fault. The critics never blame the product, they blame the consumer. And that's nothing new right there. You see, ratings don't lie, and according to Variety, the Last of Us Season 2 finale brought in 3.7 million viewers, and that's down 5.3 million at the start of the season 2. But here's the crazy part. Season 1's finale had 8.2 million viewers, and The Last of Us Season 2 didn't just drop, it got wrecked. And not a single episode of Season 2 cracked 1 million live viewers, okay? Not one. But meanwhile, Season 1 had 3 of them, okay? So what exactly happened? I mean, that's easy. The Last of Us Season 2 told audiences that their investment in the original characters was worthless. All right. Now, even HBO's other shows are doing better. You got House of the Dragon that poured in 8.9 million. White Lotus did 6.2 million. The Last of Us Season 2 couldn't even beat those, despite the fact that it's based on one of the biggest games and stuff, the most controversial games in modern history. And what does Warner Brothers do? Who do they blame? Memorial Day, as if anyone in America was on a boat instead of watching TV. When Netflix and others chose to drop major shows during holidays, Memorial Day isn't a problem. All right. Now, The Last of Us Season 2 isn't underperforming because of a holiday weekend. It's actually underperforming because, well, people are over it. The story sucks, the structure sucks, the whole thing sucks. The messaging is insufferable, and the core narrative, the Joel and Ellie connection, is gone. They killed the father-daughter bond, the emotional hook, the reasons fans showed up in the first place, okay? And they replaced it with woke lectures, identity politics, and convoluted structure that no one enjoys. And the worst part, The Last of Us Season 2 is still being shielded, basically, from real criticism. Now, these outlets refuse to admit that what everyone knows. It's a bad show, the writing is lazy, the pacing is bloated, and the performances are phoned in. They committed franchise suicide when they killed Joel, and they're shocked that viewers didn't really even show up to watch the corpse rot. Now, The Last of Us Season 2 disrespected the characters, the audience, and the source material itself. Well, I don't care about the source material, to be honest, and it's paying the price. And you know what makes all of this even more laughable? I mean, The Last of Us Season 2 could have been salvaged, as I said before. They could have course corrected, they could have trimmed the bloat, refocused on emotional core, and changed the narrative structure. But instead, I mean, they simply doubled down on every bad instinct they had in the game. And this isn't just bad storytelling, basically, but it's also self-sabotage, and they're pretending that it's fine, okay? Now, there was a time when fans hoped HBO might improve on the game's weakest parts and stuff. But instead, The Last of Us Season 2 proved that HBO is just as delusional as Naughty Dog. The same mistakes that were repeated in a new format. And now they're shocked that engagement is collapsing. These are the same geniuses trying to sell us on 4 seasons of this mess. You know what that means? That we're only halfway through the disaster, okay? Now, just wait until The Last of Us Season 2 fans are forced to go ahead and watch Abby's full backstory, forced to sympathize with the character they already rejected and hate. I mean, it's not going to work, and you can't force people to love what they hate. In this upcoming pivot in Season 3, I mean, it's going to make the backlash from The Last of Us Season 2 look tame by comparison, basically. And people will tune out for good, and Warner Brothers will have no one to blame but themselves. And they're already in enough trouble as it is. And yeah, Warner Brothers is flailing right now. You see, they've been downgraded to junk status. They need a hit badly. Now, Superman needs to crush it, and I genuinely hope that it does. I mean, honestly, I like Superman. Not sure about the James Gunn version of it, but The Last of Us Season 2 has shown us exactly what happens when you ignore fan trust and push narratives people don't believe in, okay? And this is what happens when storytelling actually becomes secondary to agenda. All right, so yeah, basically now we just sit back and watch The Last of Us Season 2 fade into irrelevance, just like the second game did. And this season will be remembered for all the wrong reasons, a masterclass in how not to adapt beloved source material. Now, The Last of Us Season 2 promised fans a powerful continuation and instead delivered a broken narrative, paper thin characters, and a franchise identity crisis. And they're not even done yet because, I mean, just like the games, a few months from now, these same media outlets praising The Last of Us Season 2 will start shifting. And they'll certainly start admitting that maybe there were problems. Maybe the backlash wasn't all from trolls. And maybe fans had a point. And, well, by then, it'll be too late. The damage is done, the audience is gone, and The Last of Us Season 2 will be just another warning sign of what happens when you spit in the face of the fans. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoy what we shared in this video. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications for future uploads, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.